Wow, now I can't believe this, and you may not either. This is literally one of the most well-known conservatives, at least over the last few decades, coming forward and doing what many refer to as saying the quiet part out loud. Bill O'Reilly, formerly of Fox News, 20 plus years there. He's on social media now with his podcast. But we're not just here to hype up Bill O'Reilly. I want you to hear what he says, because this really explains in detail what we're dealing with in terms of media of today. And I'm assuming some folks on the right may take odds with this, maybe some folks on the left, but I want you to hear what he has to say. Being candid, I am a huge Bill O'Reilly fan, been watching him for 20 plus years, watched him on Fox News probably since the early 2000s. But the reason I've kind of tuned out with Fox News, which is not as relevant, but I do want to get this point across, is that Fox News used to be, in my humble opinion, solely based on conservative principles and conservative values. Even though I lean left a little bit socially, I don't mind watching Fox because I thought the talent was pretty good and I liked the way they delivered the news, even if it was slanted right to some degree. The difference is now all of a sudden, they've become, in my opinion, what seems to be just a rallying cry for President Trump. But that's my opinion. I want you to hear what O'Reilly had to say, because this is telling.
I don't want propaganda. I hate it. I don't want the choir. I very rarely watch cable television because of that. You know, I don't learn anything. I want knowledge. I want facts. I want perspective. You don't get that. You watch Fox, 95% of people watch Fox are conservative. 95. When I was there, it was 60. Now it's 95. And out of those 95% that watch Fox, 90% of those are MAGA people. It's Trump. It's a Trump network. That's what it is. Now, am I angry at Trump about it? No. If I were Trump, I would be thrilled to have the Fox News channel, which is far and away the highest rated channel, cable news channel. And the reason is because conservatives don't have anywhere else to go except Newsmax. And Fox's talent, people that you see on television, are better than Newsmax. They're more experienced, they're higher paid, they got more going on.
Although he done it far more eloquently than I ever could, he essentially said the same thing I did, that the networks are going so far in their camp that you don't normally get anything out of it anymore. He mentioned that Fox News has essentially turned into a MAGA outlet. Now, keep in mind, he talked about the liberal networks as well, MSNBC, CNN, your actual networks like ABC, CBS, and NBC as well. And he had stated that Fox News is really the only place for MAGA to go. He brought up Newsmax. One American News probably could have been in the conversation, but he didn't say that, OAN. But here's the problem. It used to be liberals versus conservatives. You know what liberal principles are. Pro-LGBTQ, pro-racial justice, common sense gun laws, some pro-entitlements. You kind of know what the Liberal Party stands for, whether you love them or hate them. And you also know the same thing about the Conservative Party. Pro-family, pro-Second Amendment, pro-Christianity, pro-country, pro-flag, pro-patriotism. You know what the conservatives stand for. The difference between conservatives and MAGA is you really don't know as much what MAGA stands for, because MAGA really orbits around Trump. If Trump changes his mind tomorrow, MAGA changes their mind too. So that's a big, big difference. Conservatives, remember Bush stating he looked into the eyes of Putin and saw his soul? The conservatives did not like Russia. The conservatives did not like Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Trump reaches out to Kim Jong-un, and suddenly MAGA's like, well, maybe we do need to talk to our adversaries. That's not a conservative value. That's something Trump favors. And MAGA just went along with it. And there's a host of things like that. So O'Reilly is correct in pointing out that 95% of the folks watching Fox News now are Republicans and 90% are MAGA. Fox obviously knows that, which is kind of why they jump on rabbit holes immediately, such as the election was stolen, such as January 6th was perpetrated by Antifa. I heard Judge Jeanine Pirro say that the evening of January 6th, just automatically defending Trump, even though she's in a studio in New York and January 6th is taking place in D.C. Had no legitimate reason at all to go on TV and say that. But because they are a MAGA network, the first thing they're going to do is defend Trump without even needing to know the details. So O'Reilly's correct about that. Now, before the MAGA network, you had a conservative network. What is conservative? What's the difference? Conservatives liked Romney, John McCain. They liked the Bush family. It's pretty evident considering that they either tried to make them president or actually successfully did with the Bush family. They liked all those folks. Trump came along, said these are all bad people, and now MAGA's like, yes, they are all bad people. We could do the same with Nikki Haley. The conservatives respected Nikki Haley. Trump came along, said she's a bird brain. Well, MAGA says, okay, well, now she's a bird brain. So MAGA is not based on principle like the conservatives or the liberals. They're based on Trump. They're based on Trump. And that's the reason why, like I said, I stopped watching them as much because I knew what you stood for. Now I don't. It's just if Trump changes his mind tomorrow, the whole network changes their mind tomorrow. The Liberal Party is not as much like that. Remember, Genocide Joe has got to go. Liberals chanting that. You had George Clooney and other liberals saying that Biden needed to step down. George Stephanopoulos of ABC News saying that his cognitive abilities were obviously in decline. So if Obama criticized Kamala Harris, you can't depend on all liberals to fall in behind Obama lockstep and just start hating Kamala Harris. He'd have to make a legitimate point about her. Whereas with MAGA, Trump could criticize somebody and it could just be solely on something he fabricated. And that would be enough for MAGA to not like that person anymore. When I talk about flipping on values, here's a good example.
About states taking steps, but the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process, so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession of that individual.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Now, this happened right after the Mandalay Bay massacre, if I'm correct. Trump is president when he's saying this. The right is pro-Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. Here's an actual president on television talking about taking away guns first and then giving somebody due process. Meaning your spouse can accuse you of domestic violence and they would just take your guns away, and then you have to go to court to prove your innocence and get them back. That is about as anti-2A as they come. Trump didn't lose any support for that at all. So I just wanted to make this video because I was really surprised to see O'Reilly make this statement, but he is saying the quiet part out loud. Other than MAGA, I think everybody else agrees with it. But what about you? What am I getting wrong? Do you disagree? Do you disagree that the Fox News network is pro-Trump, is just a MAGA network, as opposed to being for conservative principles and ideology? Just literally a MAGA network, as I'm saying, as Bill O'Reilly said. Let me know in the comments. As always, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.